Okay, this is part 2 of the setup video, and I'm going to show going into the preference section and explaining some of the features in the preference section. So we turn on the handheld programmer, press enter. We're going to go into preferences. Press enter. Okay, the first screen is the flight mode screen. Okay, by saying yes and going into flight mode, it's going to ask, do we want to change the remote on off? So this system's already been set up, but here is if you wanted to change where your remote on off is located, you can do so here. This screen here shows you your assignment of your switch. So now I'll turn hard deck on, and it shows you flight mode 1 equals 100% level in hard deck. Turning the switch off shows you off, remote equals 0% auto trim. And this screen here is where we can actually change our selection of level in hard deck, level flight, no flight mode off, level in hard deck again. And that's flight mode setup is complete. So now to skip over this, we'll just leave flight mode set up to no and press enter. And now set gains for stability. When you need to change your pitch and roll gains, this is where you'll go. So we'll say yes, press enter, and you can see the default setting for the pitch gain is 70. To adjust this, you just increase or decrease to go up or down. When you have the setting where you want, you just press enter, and it switches over to the roll gain adjustment. And again, up or down, increase or decrease, and press enter when complete. And that ends it, takes you out for that setup, for that particular function. Skip over, we'll leave no for stability. Now we go into stick priority. Default setting is 100%. Stick priority is basically how much stick input is needed to override the co-pilot. For an advanced flyer, you're probably going to set this higher, on the higher end of the scale. This will go as high as 150. And what that means when you set it that high is that when you move the stick just a little bit, you're overriding the co-pilot right away. So it flies just like a normal, like it normally would without the system installed. So I set it to 150, we'll press enter, and accepts that. If you were to set it lower, normally a beginner, it takes more stick movement to override the co-pilot. So a beginner that's normally over controlling, you don't want to see the little, every time he moves the stick for it to override co-pilot. So it takes greater stick movement. The co-pilot's going to do its job, and it's going to continue to level. Okay, the next screen is the hard deck minimum altitude screen. This is where you set your hard deck altitude. It's defaulted at 60 feet. You can go as high as 255 feet or as low as 50 feet. To make changes, you'll hit the increase or the decrease button. By holding the button, it'll continually scroll, so you don't have to press the button individual. And then once you have it selected, press enter, and that accepts the altitude. The next screen is stabilization above the hard deck. This is when you're flying above the hard deck. Do you want your stabilization on? That's level flight stabilization. Guys that are doing aerobatics, wanting to learn new maneuvers, they'll have this selected off so that there's no hindrance from the co-pilot system. And then when the aircraft hits that hard deck, it would automatically level out. With this selected to yes, above the hard deck you do have level flight stabilization, and in the event that you do lose control, when the aircraft hits the predetermined hard deck level, it will level you back out, won't let you go below that. And again, increase or decrease to change this, and then press enter when you have it selected. Disarm flight mode, this is defaulted to level flight. This is when you have a flight mode selected. When the aircraft comes out of the flight mode, this is going to tell the co-pilot what to do. In this case, if we're in a flight mode and it comes out, it's going to go to level flight, which means it's going to turn stabilization on to level flight. And your choices here are level, off. Okay, I leave this set to level. This way you don't have to worry when you do come out of the function that it automatically levels you. Our next screen is the auto trim adjust. This setting is at 6. Basically, with the auto trim on, it's an electronic adjustment for the sensor for when the co-pilot is selected off. Okay, this number that it's set for, if that doesn't work, you know, you may go up or down, but it usually doesn't take more than 1 or 2 numbers up or down for this thing to work, and it works really good. Okay, the next screen is enable emergency recovery. This is defaulted at yes. This you do need to have this enabled for hard deck. And what this does is when your aircraft is at a very sharp angle, this allows full servo movement to get you into a quick recovery. The set low voltage warning screen is next. This is set at 3.6 by default. This just gives you an error when the voltage on your battery gets low. Your set flight angle screen is next. When you choose to turn off the auto trim mode, you still need a means of electronically centering out that servo to keep your aircraft level in flight. And this is what this screen does. So by saying yes, you'll go in, and then these are the electronic adjustments for the main sensor, the pitch and roll sensor. Again, increase or decrease these numbers. And when you get it where you need it, you just press enter. So you go through pitch and then also roll. Increase and decrease goes up or down, right or left. Press enter when you're done. And then it also goes into inverted flight. And then when you're done entering, you'll come up back to set flight angles, no. Press enter to skip over it. It asks us how you want to read the units, Fahrenheit or Celsius. And show technical screens. This is a screen that we use, which needs a passcode to get into. We'll skip over that by saying no. And back to the choose task menu. And this will end the lesson for preferences. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.